Naledi Pandor is acting like someone who got kicked out of a nightclub she's been bad-mouthing for years. And then when she's actually kicked out, she stands outside asking, "But why me?" Excuse me, ma'am. You spent half a decade insulting the bouncers, and you honestly think you could just get back in? That's Naledi Pandor in the US. I mean, let's not pretend this is a mystery. The United States revoking Naledi Pandor's visa is not some shocking diplomatic earthquake. It's not even a plot twist. It's more like watching a movie where you already knew what was going to happen and what the ending was going to be, but you just really wanted to see it because the movie was still interested and you saw the trailer which spoiled the entire thing. This is the same Naledi Pandor who spearheaded South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the ICJ, something the US government strongly opposes, especially under Trump. The same Naledi Pandor who positioned herself loudly within the pro-Palestinian bloc, aligning politically with Iran and Qatar openly, two countries that Washington is never going to invite for a braai or a barbecue. That's what they call it, that side. This is the same Naledi Pandor who accused Western countries, especially the US, of double standards on global crises. This is the same Naledi Pandor who spent years delivering speeches that practically scream Washington is the villain in every global story and we hate them with our guts, and then acted surprised when the US responded with, "Okay, then stay home. Stay home, we don't need you." And if that's not Olympic level denial, then I don't know what is. Naledi Pandor's whole tenure was basically, "I don't like America. I exist to talk about not liking America. But why won't they let me in? What do you mean you're calling the police?" Her public statements have consistently painted the US as a bully, an imperial force, a manipulator of global politics, an enabler of Israel, and a power that weaponizes international institutions. Cool, she's entitled to her views. She's entitled to her views. Freedom of speech, right? Even though it works for some and not for us. But reality check, you cannot call the biggest superpower on earth a global terrorist, align with their geopolitical rivals, and then expect them to hand you a warm cookie like your Santa entering the chimney, a visitor's visa, and a welcome back poster. Even a toddler knows that you don't bite the hand that stamps your passport. Maybe if she supported Israel, she would get in because Israel doesn't do stamps. She didn't even get a phone call saying her visa was revoked. And with no reason given, that wasn't disrespect. That was the US giving the most diplomatic version of, "We heard everything you said. Enjoy staying in Pretoria. We love you, Naledi." And she's stunned. Please. The only people stunned at this situation are the ones who forgot the Saudi jet full of refugees that magically flew straight into South Africa like they were running a secret Middle Eastern program, Airbnb. I mean, did you forget about that already? Let's talk about it. The 150 plus refugees who just got on a plane and flew here. No papers, no stamps. Remember that situation? The mystery plane? The Middle Eastern passengers who walked into South Africa like they were checking into a hotel and had to pay $2,000 to be a refugee? To this day, nobody, not immigration, not the public, not the media, can explain exactly who authorized that. Ibrahim Rasool. But the trail felt disturbingly familiar. Humanitarian rhetoric plus foreign affairs fingerprints plus zero transparency equals Naledi Pandor. Pandor was the face of that era. She positioned South Africa as a sanctuary for people from conflict zones tied to geopolitical rivalries that we are not even equipped to manage. South Africa is the last place you want to come to if you're a refugee. We'll rob you of the last things we have here. South Africans didn't even get a WhatsApp broadcast warning. One moment the skies were quiet. The next morning I wake up, I see a notification, 150 refugees arrive in OR Tambo International Airport. What? What? This is the same government that can't process a home affairs form in under 4 hours. Yet a whole aircraft of undocumented arrivals get VIP clearance. And I'm not supposed to ask questions. All right. The US certainly asked questions, but we didn't give the answers. So, Naledi Pandor's visa, boop. Let's be brutally honest. The ICJ case against Israel was never going to make Washington clap politely. When South Africa filed that application, you want to know whose name was the loudest? Naledi Pandor, your favorite. She became the symbol of that case, the face in front of the cameras, the intellectual engine behind the wording, the diplomat publicly embracing leaders and governments the US considers adversaries. And I like how she keeps talking anti-Israel in US, but she has a Muslim husband and stays in a lovely Jewish neighborhood that is mostly dominated by Jews over there. Lovely place. You should see her house. You should look it up. Amazing. I mean, why is she so surprised that the US denied her entry if she was talking anti-US the entire year? It's like trash talking your neighbor for 10 years. And then when they're moving out, you're wondering why, and then asking to borrow their lawnmower. They're allowed to say no. The lobby groups were just the cherry on top. Pandor says she's aware of lobby groups trying to block her entry because she's such a victim of this oppression. And of course, this is geopolitics. When you take a position that angers major US-aligned organizations, you don't get a welcome mat. You get nothing but a locked door. Whack! Locked. Throw the key away. And she's shocked. At this point, I'm starting to think she believed she had this diplomatic immunity for life, even after retiring. She retired a while ago, and she's still talking the way she does. The US didn't do anything outrageous. They played the game she entered. She started it, and they finished it. Revoking a visa without explanation is not dramatic. It's not even unusual. The US does that to thousands of people every year, including Julius Malema and former individuals from other nations, activists and business leaders they consider politically inconvenient. The only difference here is that Naledi Pandor is a familiar face, so the story gets like a little bit of some oxygen. But when you break it down, she built her career criticizing US foreign policy. She aligned with geopolitical rivals. She championed WWE championed legal action the US opposes. She oversaw one of the oddest refugee arrivals in South African memory. She engaged in rhetoric that Washington interprets as antagonistic. What did she expect? What did she expect? A Disney Visa Plus? Bottom line is actions have consequences, even for former ministers. The United States of America didn't attack Naledi Pandor. They simply responded to years of her political positioning. If anything, this was predictable, a natural outcome of a foreign policy career defined by pushing against American interests. Naledi Pandor spent years telling the world that the US is a bully. Well, she finally got bullied. And unfortunately for her, this time it's legal, it's clean, and it's completely within Washington's rights. If she wants sympathy, she's backing up the wrong superpower.